Good morning, it's the weekend. I am Sunshine, and this is ABCube stream. ABCube method for solving Rubik's Cubes. I'm ABCube tutor, but I'm sorry I'm late, you guys. I was just watching this TikTok, and I have to see what happens. I'm going to share it with you guys. We got this kitty cat on a football field.
There a cat on the field? Yeah. I mean, it is New York. As long as it's not a black cat. Well, hold on. We're going to keep playing. Where is the cat? Did the cat leave the field? No, it's still there. Past the Oriole dugout. All right.
I just have to see what happens to the cat.
Look at this thing go. This is faster than anybody on the Yankees.
Here you go.
Ryan McKenna.
Look out, McKenna.
This poor cat. Pretty
The
scared
louder the
right now.
crowd cheers, they need to open up the door. Let him in. Come on.
Put him in the bullpen.
Open the door.
So the cat wants to, the cat's trying to find a way off the field.
He just wants out.
Because everybody's loud and the poor kitty is scared.
To the wall.
I'm sorry.
The Orioles have hit a couple of balls up there.
I just have to finish this before I can do my cubing.
What is the crowd chanting?
There is no telling.
Oh man.
It's so noisy. Cat just wants to get away.
Doesn't know where to go.
He's just trying to back up in the corner and hide. Poor thing.
Can you get? Yeah.
That's a pretty cat too.
Really pretty. I feel a mixture right now of amused and sad. Somebody's got to get the cat. Just let him into the bullpen.
I just don't understand why they won't open the door.
A couple of members of the grounds crew are coming out.
Yeah, this is not going to go well if they try to pick this cat up.
Oh yeah, because that's gonna. Yeah, you're gonna be able to pick up a poor scared kitty. That's gonna work real well. Go, 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 you poor thing.
They can't catch this cat.
I'm
Just
sorry.
open the door and let it open.
I know you're here for cubing. I'll cube in a minute.
Oh,
I can't watch this. I really can't. This is pulling at my heartstrings. This poor cat. Look at this thing go. It's got a heck of a vertical leap. Oh, no, no, no. Cat's got 9 laps. It'll be all right.
She just went in. Just let her in.
Just, please, can we open the door? There's another way through the bullpen. There's got to be.
Come on, kitty. You're gonna be okay.
I swear if this cat gets her all on camera, I'm going to have to walk out of the booth. Chanting MVP now, the Yankee Stadium crowd. Listen,
I'm sorry, I just have to know what happens.
So it's got that going for it.
These people have clearly not ever rounded up anything in their life.
We need you. This is where we need you.
You don't circle, just push him towards, I mean, look. That's
Just
going to be an
give her
easy
an
ground.
out. There we go.
We did it.
Yield it to the man in blue.
Now he's probably in the stands or the camera well or something. Oh my gosh.
Alrighty then.
Well, at least the Yankees have something to enjoy tonight.
I have to know what happened to the kitty.
Somebody please adopt that cat. Give it a forever home.
Just leave him alone for a while. Let him calm down. Let him get underneath one of
Is there
those
more?
seats and chill for a while.
Folks, that was legitimately harrowing. It was amusing, but it was also harrowing. I'm very glad it's over. I don't ever want to watch.
Okay.
Is there a cat?
Kitty cat's okay now.
I mean, it is.
I'm sorry. I just had to see what was going on. Hi, I'm Sunshine. I can Rubik's Cube. I have a basement apartment, a basement room, bedroom. And my landlady has cats as well as my fluffer bunny. And so sometimes her cats are outside and they come up to my window and they'll like pet themselves on the screen. They're like, I belong inside. I'm outside. I'm lost. Please let me in. I'm supposed to be in there. Don't you know? And so and then my cat and them have not yet come to an agreement. So there's a screen there. I can't let them in. But this morning, I'm like, I see the shadow of the cat, and I'm like, oh, look, kitty, your friends are outside, and the Fluffer doesn't care. She's not reacting as she does when it's the one of the two cats. So I look over to the window to just say hi, and it's another cat. It's not one of our cats, and she's just petting herself up against the screen. Meow, meow. I belong inside. Why don't go ahead? Just open right there. Just open the door. I'm like, oh, kitty. So I went to go see if I could find her outside. I went to go outside. She looked in, and she saw Fluffer. I don't know if it's a he or she, but all cats are she for me. And so she saw Fluffer, and she's like, whoops, wrong house, and she darted away. And then so I went upstairs to see if I could find her and see if she was hungry. And my landlady was out there. She says, is there a cat outside? I mean, yeah. She says, what? So she says, she asked me what it looked like, and she says, that's not what I'm used to seeing. So we went outside looking for the kitty, and to no avail. Kitties. I'm like, oh, the cat distribution system is at work. But no, the cat said, I belong here, and then said, nope, never mind. Okay, so, cubes. Rubik's Cubes. Invented first became popular in the early 80s. I don't remember what year Mr. Rubik came up with his method of holding the pieces together without them falling apart. The internal mechanism of the cube is what Mr. Rubik had invented. He did not invent the puzzle. The puzzle had already existed in the form of a 2x2 with 6 colors on each side that you had to twist and try to solve to get the colors to be correct, but they were not held together internally. They were made out of magnets. So if you could not figure out how to twist the colors correctly, you could just take it apart, put it back together again. Incidentally, that's what people did with the Rubik's Cube as well. They would take it apart and put it back together again, because if it's together, you can at least, I know everyone uses algorithms, and if it's together and if it's solved and you do an algorithm, you can see exactly what just happened, So you can be able to figure out, okay, this is what that particular series of movements does. But once it's scrambled, it's really hard to see what everything is doing when you do a move. So taking it apart, putting it back together again was the thing to do. Also, they would, of course, peel the stickers off and put them back on again. He's like, it's all correct except for this one. Let's just and bake it. I did not do any of those. I found a book at the bookstore. 7-Eleven. Book at the 7-Eleven, and they had bookshelves in 7-Eleven. And so one of them was The Simple Solution to Rubik's Cubes. And I don't remember who it was. Let's see if I have it right here beside me somewhere. I evidently do not. But I found the book, memorized it, and was able to solve the Rubik's Cube. But don't fight me on this. But algorithms are cheat codes. If you memorize the algorithms and you do it, then you get the result. But until you can actually intuit it to know what it's doing, then you may be able to solve the cube, but you haven't actually mastered it. So I solved the cube. I could solve the cube, and then I was so excited. So I'd just take my cube everywhere, and I would just fiddle with it. Just fiddle with it. Wasn't really. I didn't really get into the speed solving because it wasn't really a thing yet. But I would walk down the street, and people would I have a lot of cubes. Sorry, I'm just fiddling while I talk. So I'd walk down the street and people were like, "Oh wow, you've got a Rubik's cube. Did you take the stickers off, or did you take it apart and put it back together again?" I'm like, "Nope, I just solved it." They're, "No, you didn't solve it," because of course I wasn't smart enough to figure out how to do it on my own. I had to find a book to read. So I'm like, "No, I can solve it." And so they would take my cube and they would turn their back to me and they would make some moves, and I'd solve it. They're like, "Let me try again," and because they obviously, they actually thought that what I needed to do to solve the cube was to exactly intuit what they'd done and exactly reverse it. So anyway, I started teaching the cubes at school. I take the cube to school, and people were like, "I have a cube too. Can you know how to do that? Can you teach me?" I'm like, "Sure, I can teach you." So they would, that was fun. I've told that story before. I remember watching, like, "Hey, it's going to be on TV. There's a world record. There's a world championship going on. They're going to have a world record." And it was the United States before it was the worldwide. And I sat with my cube, and I thought I was pretty good. I could do the cube in about 3 minutes, consistently. Maybe a little bit more, but about 3 minutes I could solve the cube. And so I'm watching the first world record, and I'm watching everybody just, and there were no finger tricks back then because the cube was clunky, and so you couldn't just turn the cube. You couldn't just like that, like you can now. You'd have to turn, it actually took moving of your hands to do it. But I remember I when I saw the first world record being set, I'm just like, okay, I'm so upset. I just put my cube down. I'm like, I didn't pick it up for a month. I'm like, I can't do that. I'll never be that good. So, but then I picked it up again. But my claim to fame at the time, I was not fast, but I could teach people, and it wasn't this method, because I only created this in 2015 is when I finished the first copy. 2015. It took me 5 years to write it, but back then it was just 3x3. The 4 hadn't been invented. It was just 3x3, and they'd say, "What do I do?" And I'd say, "Okay, first do it." Okay, and I would just point them through with their finger, and with the back then it was R plus and R minus rather than just R and R prime, and so I would say, "Do this, 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 this," and they would do it, and then they would come around, and so that was fun. I didn't go towards speed. I just went towards solving, towards teaching. That was fun for me. And then the 4x4 came out, and everything I thought I knew was wrong. I'm like, I don't understand. I don't know how to do it. I didn't know how to. I was a teenager. But when I got the 4x4, I finally got my dad to buy me a 4x4 because they were not as popular and easy to find as the 3x3, as the Rubik's. And I'm trying to figure out how to do it. And of course I could get the one side, the one layer, and I could do that. And I finally figured out. I got to about like half. I did layer by. I was doing layer by layer, and I got to where like half of the piece is done, and then I couldn't figure out how to not mess up what you'd had done, and then my cube, the cube broke. The cube broke, and I couldn't fix it, and didn't know how to put it back. A piece actually broke, and I'm like, I knew how to. I could do when my 3x3 broke. I could take it apart, put it back together again. I could glue the piece back together again. I could do that, but the 4x4, I don't know if I lost one of the piece that broke off, but I could not do it, and so I had to put the cube down. And I had this unsolved problem in my head I have no idea how long this unsolved problem in my head before I finally found another 4x4 and was able to try to learn it. This was back before the internet, so it was hard. But fast forward to nowadays, and I was the first person I watched, the first person to set the record was Jeffrey Varasano, and he has a YouTube, and he runs a pizzeria in Georgia, I believe, but he still plays with the cube. But so someone said, I think your ABCube method looks kind of like Jeffrey, like the Varasano method from the early '80s. So I looked it up. I'm going, oh, I know who he is. So I fangirled and sent him a message, a message on Facebook Messenger, and a couple months later he saw it. I'm just like, this is just a fan letter. I just think you're awesome and amazing. And just I watched his video. His brain is a completely different level than mine. I mean, if you watch his video, he'll like, okay, let's say that this is the thing that you want to do. You want to make this thing turn around, and so you want to flip it. So he'll just like do this thing to bring it to the top, and then make the change, and then just reverse what you did to bring it back to the bottom again. I'm like, I can't just reverse what I did unless I wrote it down. So anyway, but where I was going with this is that he told me that he had gone to when the 4x4 came out, he had gone to the the convention had invited him because he was the record holder. He was invited to the convention, and they handed him the 4x4 and let him play with it for a while until he was playing with it and having fun, and it got to as far as where he figured out, oh, there's something that can happen on the 4x4 that the 3x3 doesn't have. This is a new thing, which of course we all know is a parody. And so he's like, well, and then before he could solve that, they said, okay, convention's over. It's time for you to go home. Thank you for our toy. You can go home now. And so he did not sit there with an unsolved problem in his head like I did. No, he went home and with graph paper and colored pencils, he mapped out what had been going on, what was going on with the 4x4, and figured out how to solve the parody, how to solve the parody, and so he did that, and without having the cube in his hand, just by being able to turn it in his head. I'm like, I don't know about that. That's just amazing. So he's if you guys find his YouTube, follow him, Varasano. He's an amazing guy. Kind of had a crush on him. Okay, so which is a very long way of saying hi. I am Sunshine, and this is the ABCube method for solving Rubik's cubes. It works on every type of cube, from the 2x2 up through any number cube that you find reasonable, and you don't have to memorize. You don't have to learn the standardized notation. You don't have to know that this was top for a while. Now it's up and this is down. This was way back when this was the base, but now it's down and this is the back, because back when I first learned, we didn't ever move the back, and so the standardized notation has changed over the years as things get better. And of course, when the 4x4 came out, then we had to name the other lanes as well. So I took it all, and I'm more visual. It's easier in my head to see, that how they work together, like that it's hard to translate in my brain that an R is parallel to a left minus, right is parallel to a left minus, and so just looking at the algorithm was confusing to me. I could not translate the letters into what they do, just like I can't never learned to play the piano. I can't translate the letters into the sounds that my brain just doesn't make the connection. So I took the method for solving the last layer and I wrote it down in the algorithm, and then I translated it into arrows. I have some of those here. My original, yeah. Ta-da! 3x5 cards. Translated into arrows. I didn't have, I had 3 arrows because, of course, there's 3 columns. And so I'm like, okay, and L plus looks like that arrow goes down. And so, you know, whatever it was I was trying to do, I would take the algorithm and translate it into arrows so I could look and see what the arrows were doing and what I wanted to do. So that was one of the steps of my. This was the goal for the last layer. This is, I didn't have these were the steps of coming up with the formula. There's a lot of steps along the way. I like this one. This is my favorite step right here. Is I took, at one point in time, I turned it into a flowchart. Start goal is to have 4 corners. I used purple as the active color because I was trying to be color neutral, and whatever color you wanted to start with, you didn't have a purple, so we were going to call it purple, and you were just going to translate that in your mind. So the first step would be to get all of your active color on top on all 4 corners. And so if yes, then the next step is to make the, hi Doug, the next step would be to make the edges match. And I started with a 2x2, I started drawing with the smallest cube that has that, and then I would work up to bigger cubes as I went along. So this is one of my steps. And then, so if no, then is the purple on one corner. If yes, then slide the top to make it out of the way and go back to is purple on all colors. But if no, then is your purple on this corner? If yes, do A twice, and then, you know, just keep going. And so if it's not one of these 3 corners, is it on the bottom corner? And if no, then rotate the bottom a quarter turn and try again. And then do A or 2A or 2A. And then you get till you get to there. And then if one side matches, rotate cube so it matches in the back. And then do formula B. And then A slide, blah, blah, blah. So, and then there's, okay, so A looks like this. 5A is in the reverse of A. If you have different things. So anyway, it has been a long and interesting trip to go from to be able to solve the cube. So all right, so let's do that. We'll start with orange, start with yellow. This corner, I used to say, when I was color neutral teaching, I'd say, okay, your cube has 8 corners, whichever cube they had in their hand. Your cube has 8 corners, pick a corner, and they'd pick a corner. And it's, okay, now that corner has 3 colors, pick a color, and they'd pick a color, and I'm like, they're going, okay, green. And I'm like, okay, green. Okay, so hold your cube so that that color is on top and under your left thumb. So now that cube is correct. We're going to make all the rest of the cube match that cube, because that's the one that's correct as you picked it. And so I'd say, okay, we're working on the corners. So is there a green? Is your color on the corner under your right thumb? If it is, then do formula A, and if not, then is there a green on the corner under the thumb? And if there's no color, your color is in either one of these 2 spots, then do formula A and tell green that your color's on top. So again, we're looking at rows and columns as if it were a spreadsheet, and so I'm doing color neutral today with green. Okay, it switched. We do keep going with A, down, keep going with A until it's up. Now, is this the fastest way? Absolutely not. And then when it's on top, rotate it out of the way to keep going. Third green here, yes. Out, down, in, up, out, down, in, up. Keep going. It's on top, slide it out of the way. We're only looking at the top color. No green, slide the bottom. No green, slide the bottom. Green. Out, down, in, up. Out, down, in, up. Out, down, in, up. Out, down, in, up. Out, down, in. It'll eventually get there, you guys. Okay, green's on top. And then we look at the side colors match. That's a no, that's a no, that's a yes. So if one side matches, rotate it to the back. And we move on to Formula B. Top row, outside columns, slide first up, slide back second up, slide first down, slide second down, and then right into A twice. Slide the top, A twice. Slide A twice, and there you go. All right, so when the first four are correct to each other, you put them face down and you figure out what the opposite color is. It's the color that all the sides have in common, and it's the color that is not touching your first color. So in this case, so opposite green is blue. So this one's blue, we'll leave that there. To Formula B, Formula A to bring the color to the top. And then just as we did before, we don't rotate the cube, we slide the top to protect it. This one's also blue, so we slide the top to keep it out of the way, and we keep going on this one. And Formula A. And yes, you can do shortcuts and inverses and parallels, and that blue's on top. So we look to see what matches. Nothing matches, so it doesn't matter which way we hold it. We're going to do Formula B. And then A to bring it back to the top. Slide the top. A, slide the top. A, slide the top. They'll all match. Now we have one side that matches, and if you do B and A again, then all sides will match. So up, up, down, down. Formula A rotates it. Up, up, slide the top, keep going. Up, up. And blue's on top, and the sides match, so we're looking at the top match the bottom, and the 8 corners are all correct to each other. And when I'm teaching, I say, "Oh, good job! You did so well. Here, now do it with this one." And I spend the first hour just getting them doing the corners over and over again, and just using A and B until they're comfortable with it. And then I'm like, well, now you know absolutely everything that you need to learn, because there's nothing more you need to learn for the rest of the cube. Well, the only difference is that if you want to work on the edges, then you're still going to do Formula B, but you're going to do with an outer and an inner column. So since we've been looking at blue and green, let's look at blue and green, and we're going to work on the outside edges. So here's a green. Line up the corner to the front, line up the corner to match the front color, which is going in this direction, so the columns are where you want it to end up, which is in this row, and where the second column is where it begins, which is in this row. So that you're going to do Formula B, but you're going to use this row, and you start by moving it away. So away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down, and do one for them, and then I'm showing them, and the edges work the same way. You just have to, if the two columns are the centers, you're going to move and then I just give them a cube, a big cube, and send them on their way and say, come back next week. And they come back next week, and they're like, they're like, I have, they don't come back and say, look, I did it, because when they did it, they're confident enough to scramble it and try again. And so they'll come back in a week and say, I have just one question. I don't remember this one thing. Did you tell me this? And if it's a 2x2, it's that they've got two edges flipped, and I'll show them, just B and bring it to the front, B again, and then bring it to the front. But if it's a parity, if it's a larger cube, it's a parity. And I'm like, okay, remember what I said about B will always move 3 pieces around? And when it looks like there's 2 pieces around, you can't see the third piece, it's because the third piece is the one you can't see. And so all I gotta do is rotate that center a quarter turn, and then solve for the edges again, and your parity is gone. So, and then we play for the rest of the hour, and they walk away with knowing that they can solve. They take a picture of my A and B on their phone. And then, at that point in time, then they would know that they can solve in every Rubik's Cube. And a month or two later, they'll come back and say, hey, teach my friend now. She wants to learn. And at first, I was like, okay, I only ask, I'm teaching you, but I only ask is don't teach anyone else until I get my book, I get it out there into the world. I don't want to lose I want to be able to I want to be published first, and I am published online. My book isn't published yet. I'm still working towards that. But so I'm like, okay, I can teach you, but you can't teach anybody until I tell you it's okay. And so, and they're like, okay. And so, one of my students, one of my friends, he after I taught him, then he just dove into YouTube and got into speed solving and a Fewest Moves challenge and all these other things that he was doing. And he's like, I'm teaching people, but I'm not teaching them your method. I'm teaching them the beginner's method off of YouTube. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. And so I'm like, okay, it's now online with my name on it. And so you can teach people my method now. Just point them to my direction. They're like, cool. So that's fun for me. I mentioned publishing. It is my goal to get an actual book published. This is Jeffrey Verasano's book. This is the one. This is the one I memorized. This is the one I memorized. The Simple Solution to Rubik's Cube by James G. Norse. And it has, you can see inside. Okay. Top face, front face, left face, right face, bottom face, and posterior face, rarely used. And it's not, and then then a plus was clockwise looking at that face, and an R was counterclockwise looking at that face, and then number 2 was a flip turn, half turn. This is it. This is the one that I memorized. Okay, anyway, I want to be published. I want to physically have the book in my hand and say, look, see? I did it. Now, there's 100 books out there, 100-ish books out there for solving the Rubik's Cube. But once you get to a 4x4, they say, okay, now do these additional formulas, these additional algorithms, and now it looks like a 3x3. Treat it like a 3x3 and solve it however you would a 3x3. And then you get the 5x5, and they're like, okay, do these additional moves, algorithms, and then solve it like a 3x3. Well, I don't do the reduction method because it seems to me to take more. It seems to me, I mean, you can take shortcuts and stuff. I'm not saying that A and B are the only ways to doing it. But if I've got the corners done, instead of saying, okay, here's a yellow and green, and then looking for where's the other yellow and green so I can put them together, okay, I can put them together this way, and then I'm like, okay, here's a yellow red, where's my other yellow red? Okay, and I can put them together this way, and then later on you place them where they want to go. That just seems like extra search time and extra steps. And so what I do, I just do, let me do one. That's, all right. Let's shortcut here. I do the corners first because I can do that no matter which cube someone has in their hand. They all have corners, and so I can teach everybody the corners all at the same time. And then once you've got all 8 corners correct to each other, then they dictate what the side is going to be, instead of doing the centers first and letting that dictate. And then I'll show you when we get there. Okay. All right. So if I'm working white and yellow, I just find a cube that's in the center, in the middle area, and put it on top, match the corners, and I toss it in the direction of where it wants to be. And then I don't look for the other white and blue. I just whatever piece I find that is white or yellow, I just place them, and they match themselves up as they come. And by doing this, a lot of pairing them up also slightly increases the odds of having a parity, is pairing them up first. And so this also forces the parity to appear the way I want it to. Parity can look like a lot of different things, but it is always, anytime it looks like there's 2 pieces that need to be interchanged, and only those 2 pieces, there's always 3 pieces. The third piece that you can't see is the one you can't see, and so you rotate the column, rotate the edge 1/4 turn, and resolve. The parity disappears. Okay, so I'm not looking for where's my other red and yellow. I just place it where it goes. So to me, that's saving time. But I don't know. I'm not a speed solver. I will, depending on your definition of a speed solver, I'm not one. Just find from the middle and place it as they go along. Color on top, match the corners, direction away, up in second up. And with, again, the 2 columns you're using are where it begins and where you want it to end up. So I don't have to remember, so I would line it up, and then I'd find the direction, and then just toss that one at a time into the direction it's going. And the larger the cubes you're working on, having done the corners and edges, those edges help you keep track of which column you're on when you're dealing with a lot of columns. So that's just what I decided to do. Again, to do. Hi, Doug. I don't know if you were here when I began. I was watching a TikTok video that had when my came time to stream, so I had to finish watching my TikTok video before I could do my cubes. There was a kitty cat stuck on Yankee Stadium on the football field. Couldn't get off. All right, so again, I'm just when there's no more edges with an outside with my yellow or white, then I look to see if the edges are correct, and the answer is either yes or no. And if they are, I move on to the next step. And if they're not, like say these 2 are switched, or say this one is here, or say this one's white and it's supposed to be yellow. If there's a piece that is not correct, then I just throw one of the center pieces into that spot, which moves it out to the middle, and then I place it. So, Got here a bit late. Well, I was talking about we have a new kitty. There's a new gray kitty that tried to come into my house today. I had to go look for it. She just came up to my window and just rubbing up against the screen. I belong here. I belong inside. Let me in. I'm supposed to be on that side. I belong here, don't you know? And my cat was just sitting on the bed paying no attention, no jealousy, whatever. So I'm like, oh, you're so beautiful, and petting the kitty cat. But then she looked in and saw my cat and said, so, sorry, wrong house, and ran away. All right, so, and then once you've got the opposite edges done, then you just pick one of your edges to be down. White is down for me. And then displace one piece at a time, or any as many as you want up to the middle, but not beyond the middle. That way, if you do have a parity, it'll line up opposite each other, which is easy to know exactly which row needs to be flipped. So I'm going to displace my yellow, put it down. Okay, and then I work on the piece on top that's not yellow. Line it up. Determine its direction. So first column, second column, away up, in, up, away down, in, down. And I should probably at this point in time just have a parity queued up so that I can demonstrate it. I've been slightly off this week, and that's going to happen for a couple of weeks because I'm alternating my thyroid medicine, and it makes my head fuzzy when I chemical changes affect me severely because of my chemical sensitivity and my disabilities that I've got. So I'll be sleeping more and slightly fuzzy-headed. So bear with me over the next couple of weeks. I've got to titrate down to the proper dosage. Can't go too fast. Okay, all right, so yellow came back to the top. I look to see whether the sides are done. And they either are or not, and they are not. So good, I have a parity. This is a parity, haha. Okay, so looking at the edges, there's only two. This one wants to be here, and this one wants to be here. So it looks like there's only two pieces to move. Formula B always moves three pieces, and so if you move this layer, the third piece is the invisible center. So if you move a 1/4 turn, then now you have three pieces that you can move, and you can then solve that. So as long as you keep that quarter turn, which is why I don't do the center first, because if I've done the center first, then I see them together, and my mind wants to put it back to match the centers to make you take a shortcut, and it doesn't work. Now, Doug, do you want to share with me today or another day? You have an algorithm that fixes these three edges. I can either try that right now, or I can just do them one at a time until they're placed. So if you want to tell me that right now, I can do it. Otherwise, I'm just going to proceed. Okay, all right, so I'm just going to, all right, so orange is down now, red's on top. Commutator on, okay, just do it on the spot. There is one, but I'm just gonna keep show that A and B will do the job. So this piece is wrong. I'm gonna put the piece into this space. Find the piece that's not red. Move the corners to match the front. It's going in that direction. Up, up, down, down. And then corners match the front. It's going in the white direction. Corners match the front. It's going in the blue direction. Set the top, and we're done. Okay, I'm gonna finish this one, and then I'm gonna scramble them all so I can get back to work during the week. Okay, here's an example. No, I'm not. Okay, so pick a piece that's wrong on your front. Put the color on top, and this will land here, so I can bring down an orange or a yellow or a blue. I'm going to bring down the yellow. So that was my first top move, was setting it up, and then first up, and then I have to rotate the top so that this ends up. Kitty, excuse you. To rotate the top so this ends up in a different column. I can't, so that matters because it's diagonal. If I go this way, it's in the same column. That's not going to work. I have to go to the opposite other column. That's my second up. Reverse down, and that is placed. Here's a yellow. Okay. It's going to land here, so I can bring down a red or a green. Let's make it a red. Up. Slide to a different column, second up, reverse, and again my edges there are keeping me on this, so make sure I'm going the right direction. If I go in the wrong direction, it doesn't line up, so I know I went in the wrong direction, and down. Set the top, keep going. Here's a green. I can bring down, green's going to land here. I can bring down a white or a blue. Let's bring down the blue. So up. Different column, up, reverse down, and over and over and over again. Here's a red. Bring the reds to the top. Okay, it's going to land right here, so I'll line up the yellow. That's my first move. Okay, up, slide up, reverse down, set the top, keep going. Here's a blue. I see it. Okay. Again, let me solve this cube real quick, and then I'll try it on the solved cube to see more clearly what that does. Blue. Orange. Set the top. Green. Up, down, set the top. White to the top, line it up, slide down, and blue. Okay, line it up, down, set the top. Okay. All right, I can do this. I remember how to do algorithms. Okay, so wait. Left prime, that's this way. Left prime, front prime, up prime, front, lowercase up. Whoops, stop, I'm doing it wrong. It's been a while. It's been a while. I've forgotten algorithms. Okay. Let's do that again. I'll fix it. I know, I just got confused with what counterclockwise was. My brain was confused. I know it's counterclockwise, but I got confused. I'm sorry. I'm better than that. It does also work on a 5. Okay, my 5x5s are all scrambled. There's a 5x5. Okay. Alright, keep me honest here. Okay. So that left, this is clockwise. So left prime, and then front. Clockwise, counterclockwise, 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 clockwise. And then the U is clockwise for the second. So this is my U, my lowercase u, right? Okay. And then front minus up front, and then lowercase u the other direction, and then left. Ha! I can do it. I can do it. And there we go. There we have it. So one piece is correct, and 1, 2, 3 pieces are not. Those 3 pieces want to be moved around. Yes! So I have a new day. We got a new person here. You have your own method for solving cubes. I do. My name is Sunshine, also known as Sandra Workman, and this is the ABCube method for solving Rubik's cubes. So this is formula A. This is formula B. I have my YouTube. You can check me out in my bio. I also have a Wix site that you can find at www.abcube.how. Please be patient. Please be kind if you go there, because I did it on. When I didn't know what I was doing. So, hi. I didn't know what I was doing. So I just made each step into a vlog post, which means that those are presented to the world in the basis of the last one edited, and so it's out of order when you look for the steps. So the steps are all named correctly, like corners goal 1, corners goal 2, corners goal 3. But I'm trying to redo that, and I'm not very good at it. I'm trying to redo it as a album instead of a blog post, which then I can organize organized by title, and it'll look better once I get that done. So be kind if you go to abcube.how, but you can also find me on YouTube, the youtube.com/@abcube method is me. And this ABCube method, this is formula A, it's 4 moves. This is formula B, it's 8 moves. And with these moves, you can solve every size Rubik's Cube without having to memorize parity algorithms or standardized notation. It's all just visual. So let me show you. I'm going to, this is my the last step on this cube. I'm going to work on these. Hi! I have my own method, yes. So I typically go corners first and then edges and insides. So let's see what we go. So I look at this cube, the corners are all solved. So that's done. So then I look at the opposite edges. Opposite edges are all done. White and yellow are solved. So now I'm looking at side edges, and so I put the white down. And I'm going to, these 3 pieces are incorrect. So I'm going to solve them one at a time. I'm going to move this piece. My formula B is going to move, and if I do formula B, uses the top row and 2 columns. If the columns are the outside columns, it's going to move corners around, 3 corners around. If it's an outside and an inside column, it's going to move edges around. So to apply it to this piece, I'm going to mark this piece so we can trace where it goes. I'm going to do formula B to this piece. So I start by moving the top away, move this piece up. First, that's the first column. Move the top back. The second column is where the piece is I want to work on. So this is the second piece. Second up. And then reverse down, and now I've got a piece on top that I can work with. Okay, so I'm ignoring all of the yellow, working only with the piece that's not yellow. I hold the cube, I rotate the corners, cube until the corners match the front. Okay, so now the corners match the front color. The top color is green, so it's going to go in the green direction. It's not going to go the blue direction, it's going to go in the green direction. So I use the top and 2 columns. The 2 columns are where it's going to end up is the first column, and where it begins is the second column. So the column is the first column, second column. So I move it away, first up, back, second up, away, first down, back, second down. Set the top if I want to. Then find the piece on top that does not have yellow. That's the piece I'm working on. I rotate the cube so the corners match the front color. It's going in the green direction, so away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. Find another color on top that's not yellow to work on. Turn the cube so that the corners match the front color. It's going in the red direction. Away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. Set the top. It is almost like a 3x3 beginner's method. It is a beginner's method for every cube. I can do this cube just using formula A and B as well. I don't need to. It doesn't need. I can do this cube using just formula A and B. You don't have to memorize. Formula A is used to bring your active color to the top, and formula B is used to move 3 pieces around. And with just doing that, you can solve the rest of the cube. You don't have to memorize, you don't have to remember which algorithm does which movement and which order to do it in, so that you don't mess up what's gone before. It doesn't matter whether you're doing the corners as the first step or as the last step, it's all done the same. And it takes me about an hour and a half to teach a brand new beginner who's never held a cube before how to solve this cube, or this cube, or this cube. Because every cube is solved the same way, and there's nothing else to memorize other than the A and the B. So yes, I'm very proud of myself. So it is a beginner's method, and sometimes there's gatekeeping on cubing, which kind of frustrates me. Like, why would anyone need a beginner's method for a 5x5? Well, who would have a 5x5 if they don't already know how to solve the 3x3? Well, the answer is, I always find people, people will see me with a large cube and they'll go, wow, can you really solve that? Last time I was at church, this little kid, I don't know, 10 years old, comes up to me, I had a 7x in my hand, and he goes, can you tell me, have you ever actually solved that cube all the way even once? I said, sweetie, I can teach you how to solve the cube. He goes, but it's so big. I said, that doesn't matter. It's all the same. It's all done the same way. And so I will set up with his dad to be able to teach him sometime. But yeah, so I do all of them the same way. But even my order of operations is my order of operations. But you don't have to use my order of operations. For example, where's my? Hold on 1 second. Okay, so when I'm working with my mirror cube, I usually go by shape rather than by color. So I usually do I end up doing this one layer by layer rather than corners in. But I can do any of these layer by layer. It doesn't matter because the formula B only moves the 3 pieces that you want to move. And so if you don't want to mess up the centers, you don't mess up the centers. If you work in the centers and don't want to mess up the edges, you don't mess it up. So yes, check me out if you want to, and if you have, guys, bring me your non-cuber friends, or give me a try. Show them my method, and show them JPerm, and ask them which is easiest for them to understand. and but I can generally I teach a newbie in about an hour and a half. So if you've got anyone who can teach their method faster than that, and with that, I mean, they take a picture of the ABCube method with their phone, and that's all they need. You've never solved a 4x4 or up layer by layer. Okay, how do you solve yours? Do you not? Because you said you don't solve it layer by layer, I'm assuming that you do it probably centers first, and then pair up your edges, and then solve it like a 3x3 with the reduction method. That's what most people do. But I have seen people who do it layer by layer. No, the ABCube method is not layer by layer. It's not. But sometimes I do layer by layer when I'm just playing. Centers, then edges, then 3x3 stage. Yeah. I will tell you that doing that increases your odds of getting a parity, doing it that way, because when you let the pieces just fall into the place on their own, it mathematically you have a more of an odds. And when you do have a parity, but anytime you have a parity can be undone with one single quarter turn. I don't say solve because I say undone, because you're just undoing it. So you're down to just the last two pieces that want to be interchanged. The formula B always moves 3 pieces around. There's always 3 pieces to move around. If it looks like there's only 2 pieces, the third piece is the one you can't see, and which is the center piece. The cube, the mathematics of the cube has that center piece off a quarter turn. And so once you make that quarter turn, then you can solve it again. There is now something called OPA, to avoid parity during the solve by computing it during pre-inspection. Okay. I don't teach inspection. I just because I'm not that clever. I can't look at the cube and figure out what it's going to look like after I do a specific move. The only difference being when I do a formula, when I'm doing corners and I do a formula B, I know it's going to go right into formula A, A twice, slide the top, A twice, slide the top, A twice, slide the top. I can do that without looking. But my brain cannot plan ahead of time. So and when I'm teaching a newbie, their brain doesn't know how to plan ahead of time either. So methods continue to advance. They do. And I believe that mine is the most advanced in the direction of the simplicity. This is not towards the shortest moves. This is not towards the fastest solve. This is towards the fewest things you have to learn in order to be able to pick up a cube and solve it. And I believe that I've hit that. I believe this is the most efficient in terms of simplicity of learning and teaching. I can teach this cube in an hour and a half. So, and after I'd gotten this down, and I was trying to get it into up onto the internet, onto Wix or thing. I was trying to get it. It is possible, absolutely. It is possible. I just said that you're increasing your probability mathematically if you do the reduction method, and I could be wrong, but that's what makes sense in my head. Yes, people who are, I'm just not that clever. So. All right. Well, you guys, thank you for coming and spending my morning with me. Thank you for talking to me. I love to chat. You guys, this is fun for me. I also love to teach more than I love to monologue. So, if anyone wants me to teach their friend, I do that by appointment. No, I'm scrambling these cubes specifically so that they are scrambled for me when I work for next week. I work weekly. I stream every week morning, and I break it down by steps. And I'll do, some of these I'm going to solve, but I'm going to leave one of each size unsolved. Because what I do, typically on Monday I'll do the corners, and then on Tuesday I'll do the opposite edges, and then on Wednesday I'll do the side edges, and then on Thursday I'll do the diagonal corners, diagonal centers, and then on Friday I'll do, whatever's left. So I am going to solve some of these cubes, but mostly I'm scrambling them so that they're ready for me to play with. This one I'm going to solve. I can do that right now. Okay. All right. Corners. The 1, 2, 3. These orange corners. The first corners are correct. These orange corners are all correct, so they go down. Second 4 corners are red. So this one of them, I need to have the red on top on all 4 corners. So I'm going to, the red's on top on this one, red's on top on this one. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to do formula A. I know, it's so hard to leave a cube scrambled, but I do it because I've promised myself that I'm going to be able to solve it during the week, and I do have to leave them partially solved during the week so I can do the next steps. It is so, I can't do it. Okay, so red's on top on all 4 corners. This does not match, this does not match, this does not match. So it doesn't matter which way I do. I'm going to do formula B, up, up, down, down. I know there's shorter ways of doing this, but I'm showing you that my method works. Up, up, red's on top, slide it out of the way, keep going, out. Formula A is out, down, and up until the red's back on top. There it is, keep going, out, down, and up, out, down, and up. Slide, red's on top on all 4 corners. Yellow side matches, the other ones do not. Yellow goes to the back and do formula B. Up, down, down. Formula A to bring my reds back to the top. Slide the top to keep going. Formula A to bring the cubes at the top. Reds on top. Sides match on all 4 corners. Bring it to the, now the 4 corners are correct to each other. Okay, so at this point in time, all the corners are correct to each other, and yellow is mostly okay. I'm going to have yellow and white be my opposites. So here's, I look for the middle, match the corners to the front. I'm not going to move it in this direction. I'm going to do the whites. I'm going to do the whites because this one wants to come forward. Alright, so side up, side down, and yes, I'm treating them as one. Slide up, slide down. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4. Up to the green side, to the green side. Okay, just these 3. All right. Nope. Okay. Displace. Line it up, going in the orange direction. Sometimes I just get confused between what's clockwise and what's counterclockwise. Okay, so that one is solved, and these ones I'm going to use a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 5, so I'll leave those away alone, and I will solve these other ones. Okay. A. Here's a shortcut that I don't teach. If none of them match, then I try to see whether if the bottom is solved, then I don't do this. But if it's first 4, then you can just do R2, F2, R2, and they're solved. So if none of them match, you can just do R2, F2, R2. Aha! Yes! Great minds. I believe you. You started talking it before I said it. But I usually check to see if do the check to see if the bottom is going to be solved first, because if it's already lined up properly, then doing that just switches to the other side. So all right, 2 yellows, 3. Okay, yellows are solved. White colors on top. Okay, so here's another one. None of them are matches, but I can't do that, or can't do it because of the bottom. It'll just switch it to there. So instead of doing, if I did formula B, and instead of doing A and then doing it again, I can just rotate the top and do formula B again, because I know I'm going to have to do it twice. And then, since I've already done it twice, when I bring the whites to the top again, I won't have to do it. So there are shortcuts my method can take, and I know there are faster ways of doing it. So corners are done. Yellow and white are left and right. I find a middle piece on, okay, so yellow and white are left and right. I find a yellow or white in the center, the middle area. I bring the corners together to line them up to match the front. It's going in the yellow direction, so I move it away. My columns are first column, second column. Away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. There's another piece. Line it up. Line the corners up to the front. It's going in the right direction. Up, down, down. Line up the corners. Away, up, in, up. Away, down, in, down. Yellow and white are left and right. Line up the corners. It's going in the white direction, so away, up, in, up. Away, down, in, down. Corners match. Away, up, in, up. Away, down, in, down. And I deliberately did not match up my center first, just so I could demonstrate. Okay. All right. There's no more yellow or white corners, but I do want, I'm going to move my white up there, and I can do that without messing up my edges by white and green and orange, these three colors. So I move this piece away. I'm applying formula A to this piece. I move this piece away. I move the space down. I move the cube into the space, and the cube and the space back up again. Okay, and so now there's, okay, the yellows are correct, and the white one has one incorrect. So I'm going to treat my yellow as face down, and this is the cube I'm going to displace to the other pieces. I'm going to save that for last so I can demonstrate that. So I find a piece that's incorrect. Oh, that one too. Are they all like that? Yes, they are. Okay. All right. So these two pieces are incorrect. I move it away. Okay. Line up the corners to match the front color. Each one of these pieces is in the correct place but flipped. Okay. So these two are flipped, is not a parity because this piece doesn't belong over here. And so I can flip formula B, and then formula B works with these two edges. So I can either flip these two together and then flip these two together, or I can position it so that the two that need to be flipped are in the right spot. Do the formula B, top, formula B, top, and then undo what I had done. Okay, so, all right, that's it. I've had fun today. Thank you for joining me. Pac-Man1, if you want to follow me, that'd be great. I'd appreciate it. But go check me out at your convenience if you want to, and I will be back here. I'm here every Saturday morning. I'm here weekday mornings and Friday afternoons. But if you want me to teach someone, just thank you for the follow. Bring them to me. I do have a Zoom that I incorporate into my Twitch, or can incorporate into my Twitch, where I can teach up to 3 to 4 people, 3 or 4 newbies at a time, walking through my format where I'm actually teaching rather than just monologuing. So bring me. I'll do it with 1, 2, or 3 or 4 people. I'll do a Zoom, and I'll just do a gameplay capture of the Zoom call. So that will be fun for me. Bring me people who don't know the cube and want to learn it, and I will teach them. In the meantime, thank you for the follow. Thank you guys for spending your morning with me. I appreciate you. I value your time. And go have a wonderful day. And I will be back here Monday morning. Bye, you guys. You're great.